in by a couple of backpackers who found him on the side of the road, and I don't think he's a stray because he has a collar.
Okay, so have you checked in for a microchip?
Yep, there was no chip found, and from a quick check over, he's in really good condition, but his injuries are pretty severe and requires intervention soon, as any further progression of his injuries will compromise his quality of life. It's starting to look like a welfare issue.
I see. You're caught in a tricky situation here because if you accept the cat, you take on responsibility for him and he will now be in your duty of care.
Exactly, and I've been trying to evaluate whether his injuries are so severe that euthanasia might be the next course of action. I'll jump on the RSPCA site and see if there's a missing cat report. I found the owner, and, well, let me just explain the cat's condition. Yep. Okay, so the owner just said that they're not financially in a place to go forward with the treatment. They just want to take him home. Well, what do I do now?
Yeah, look, it's really difficult when owners either don't want to listen to you or don't have the financial means to provide the necessary treatment. You need to remember that as the vet, you have a shared duty of care over the cat at this point. You need to explain the information surrounding any welfare consequences of not treating the cat's injuries to the owners, and that in itself fulfills your duty of care. So if the cat suffers because the owners decide that they do not want to treat or euthanize despite your advice, then the owners will be held responsible for the cat suffering. Maybe we should get your legal expert to give her insight and just confirm that what I've said is correct. I am a vet, not a lawyer after all.
Right, okay, let me dial her in. Claire, hey, you there?
I'm here, it's good to see you. I've read through your case notes you sent me, and I've looked into the legislation that's applicable to your circumstances. Let's just start from the beginning and work through the facts. The pet cat was brought into your clinic severely injured with no means of identifying the owner. So from the moment that cat entered your clinic, it entered your legal duty of care as a veterinarian, as according to the Veterinary Surgeons Act of 1936 and the Queensland Animal Care and Protection Act of 2001. These acts allow you as the vet to decide on the appropriate course of action for the cat, depending on the circumstances. You have an obligation to look out for this animal's welfare, and considering the degree of injury and the fact that there was no owner at this point, euthanasia was on the table. As a vet, you do not have the power to order euthanasia or enforce the Animal Care and Protection Act. That duty falls into the hands of Biosecurity Queensland and RSPCA inspectors or the police. So if an inspector gave the order to euthanize, then the act would permit you to perform a euthanasia to alleviate unnecessary suffering. Now, I see here that the owner was located. At this point, you entered joint duty of care. The owner is responsible for deciding whether or not any treatment you recommend will be given. Your responsibility is to ensure that the owner is fully informed on their options and the potential consequences their decision may have. This fulfills your obligation to the animal, and you can no longer be held liable for the owner's decision.
Well, in regards to the financial situation, do I have responsibility as I technically have the means to treat? Does this responsibility now fall to me?
An owner's inability to afford treatment does not legally place any financial responsibility onto you. Under the Animal Care and Protection Act, the owner is responsible for the animal regardless of their inability to pay.
Okay, good to know my legal discourse and protection here. Thanks so much, Claire. I have the number of our town's RSPCA inspector. I might give her a call and have a chat about where to go from here because I'm concerned for this kitty. Let me dial her in. Hey, Kayla, you there?
Hey, here.
I've got a bit of a complex case going on at the moment. I just wanted to discuss your opinion from an RSPCA officer's perspective.
Yeah, of course. So I've read the email regarding the case and I've got a couple of things that I wanted to add. So first of all, I would suggest that the owners consider surrendering their cat either to your clinic or to a local rescue, someone who's willing to provide the ongoing care that it needs. If they refuse to surrender the animal, you can continue down the path of pro bono treatment, but I'll leave you with that for a minute to discuss this as an option with them.
All right, I'll go have a chat and see what they think. Okay, so I discussed the option to surrender and they weren't interested at all.
Okay, so the next option would be to consider if your practice is willing to provide pro bono treatment. So if you choose to offer this as an option, it's important to consider a few factors. So first of all, you need to consider how long the treatment's going to take. Are we talking weeks or months? And you need to think of any complications that may arise and the costs involved with these. You then need to have a conversation with the client and gauge whether you believe that these owners are going to be compliant. So, for example, are they going to be able to administer medication at home? And will they be willing to return the cat to the clinic on a regular basis to check on the progress? Lastly, you need to discuss if the total cost, including any complications and medications involved, are a cost that your clinic is willing or able to take on. So once you commit to this with the client, it is yours and your clinic's responsibility to see it through to the end.
Okay, right. So I'll have a chat to my practice manager and see what she thinks about providing treatment about pro bono. Okay, so I've had a chat with Sarah Jane, the practice manager, and she feels the owners won't be compliant and doesn't want to proceed with pro bono treatment.
Okay, so at this point, then you need to explain to the client that in your professional opinion, you feel it would be cruel to send the cat home with no treatment. You're then going to need to counsel them on humane euthanasia. So stress to them the degree of pain that this animal is going to be in, and you need to discuss the risks of complications and advise them that in your professional opinion, you believe that euthanasia is the most humane option here.
Wow, okay. Well, this will be a tough conversation, but thanks for your advice, Kayla. Okay guys, are you all there? You will not believe what just happened. They are refusing euthanasia and just grabbed the cat and then left the clinic. I have no idea what to do now. I'm extremely worried about this cat and how much suffering it's going to be in the next couple of weeks.
I think this case has progressed to a potential neglect case, Beck. So in this instance, the first step would be to contact a local RSPCA officer, which for this area is me. If you didn't have direct contact with me, you could also report online at any time through our website, or if you're in Queensland, you can call the 1300 Animal Hotline. If you're in a location where the RSPCA aren't present, you can contact the police, as they also have the power to enforce action under the Animal Care and Protection Act. So you can choose either to remain anonymous or to be involved with the case as a witness. But if you do have the intention to involve the RSPCA, it's vital that you document as much detail regarding this case as possible. So make sure you have your ace in your sleeve or your ass covering evidence. But I'll take note of what we've discussed today, Beck, and if you could send me through all of your documentation, I'll start writing up a report and we'll start an investigation into this matter.
Okay, thanks so much for your help, Kayla. I hope that this issue resolves and this poor cat will be in the right treatment in no time. Thanks so much, guys, for all your help. Bye!